Most welcome in this English class. Today we are going to discuss about a story named Three Questions. There was a king in Britain who had very inquisitiveness in his heart to know the answer of three questions. That questions was a sort of his instinct. That means those questions will always remain roaming in his mind. Whenever he was going to perform a homely work or a state work or an administrative work, at that time those questions were always roaming in his mind. But even on trying a lot, he was not getting the satisfactory answer of those questions. So once he decided to call a meeting in his courtyard, he ordered his horses, courtiers, and ministers to establish a bona fide meeting in his courtyard. As a result, all the ministers, learned and wise people participated positively in that very meeting. The king started asking his three questions step by step. That is in successive mode. His first question was, what is the most important time in this world? Second question was, who is the most important person in this world?
Excuse me, sir. Please repeat the questions.
King's first question was, what is the most important time in this world? Second question was, who is the most important person in this world? And third question was, what is the most important work to do in this world? The king provided a positive chance to his learned scholar to explain the perfect answer of this very first question. The learned scholar of his kingdom answered, the most important time in this world is at the time of meditation or worshipping the God, because every prayer is efficacious, every meditation is very efficacious to attain the ultimate goal of life. But the king was not satisfied at all with this very answer of the scholar. So he ordered the scholar to be seated. Sit down, sit down. Then he asked the second question from the next learned person. The question was, who is the most important person in this world? Then the second scholar replied, the most important person in this world is the minister of the country, because all the citizens are ultimately dependent, whether willingly or unwillingly, they are dependent on minister. So minister is like a second god who looks after all the citizens. So the minister of the country must be known as the most important person in this world. In this way, the king also, the king was not satisfied at all with this very answer, and he ordered the learned to be seated. Sit down, sit down, sit down. Thereafter, he arose his third question. That third question was, what is the most important work to do in this world? Again, the learned stood up to answer this very question before the mass of the citizens and the king. The learned replied, most important work in this world is to be a good administrator. To be a good administrator means who knows how to administrate his or her citizens properly. Again, the king was not satisfied with this very answer, and he ordered the learned to be seated. Sit down, sit down, sit down. At last, the king became very depressed and decided to go away from his own country to know the perfect answer of these questions from a saintly person, so-called hermitage in literal words. Then he decided this idea with his personal assistant. After that, the king made a plan about how to contact a hermitage or a hermit or a saintly person to know the perfect answer of all these three questions. When he shared this idea with his personal assistant, then the personal assistant convinced the king not to go to hermit in this very royal dress of a king. Then the king asked the reason behind this logic. Then the PA replied to the king, hermits or saints are often found in greedy nature in respect of their deeds or in respect of their teachings. It was not 200% right, but the PA was thinking like that, and so he convinced the king in that very way. Ultimately, the king asked him what to do and how to contact the hermit. Then the PA instructed him, first you put off your all these royal dress and wear a simple dress like a simple citizen of your country. As a result, the king decided to go there in a simple dress. He put off his dress, royal dress of king, in his own palace, and wore his simple dress like a simple citizen, common citizen of his country. When he went there near the cottage of the hermit, his one of his enemies was planning to kill the king on that very way, or on that very road through which the king was going to meet the hermit. The king was not knowing this secret planning of his enemy and was ready to go to meet the hermit in that very simple dress. But the forces or bodyguards of the king came to know through their vigilance that certain enemy is ready to kill the king on the way. So they were really alert about the war to be held with the enemies of the king. When the king went to the hermit, then he ordered his bodyguard to stay at the gate of that very hermit, and that king went alone to meet the hermit inside the cottage. At that very time, the hermit was digging the ground. He was preparing a small bed in his garden, and when the king went to meet the hermit, he welcomed the hermit, saying, "Please accept my humble obeisances." But the hermit didn't care at all. The hermit didn't care at all to the words of the king. Even the hermit thought the talking person may be a general individual from society. So he didn't pay his attention at all towards the king. And he remained digging the ground. After a few minutes, the king reminded the hermit, "Please accept my humble obeisances unto your lotus feet. I am from such and such place, and I am very eager to know the perfect answer of a few questions." Again, the hermit didn't pay his attention at all towards the king. But what happened? The enemy of the king was watching hither and thither near the gate to kill the king, just hiding from his bodyguard. And the bodyguard of the king saw that enemy, and he recognized the enemy, and he shooted out that enemy with his own weapon. With his weapon, he just smashed a knife in his stomach. Means the bodyguard of the king smashed the stomach of the enemy through his own sword. After that, what happened? That enemy ran fast inside the cottage of the hermit, saying, "Save me, save me, save me, save me." At that time, the king as well as the hermit ran fast to save the individual considering an injured person. Both of them looked after the injured person and got him cured well after 6 hours. When the injured culprit, who was hidden enemy of the king, became about to be cured, told the king and the hermit that please forgive me, please forgive me, please forgive me. I was planning to kill you, but you, both of you, are so merciful that gave me a new life. At that time, neither hermit nor the king said any word to that very injured person and simply gave him medicines and some snacks to enjoy. After that, what happened? The inquisitiveness of the king again became aroused. He asked the hermit, please reply to my, please answer to my questions. I have intense desire to know the perfect answer of these three questions. Then the hermit told the king, ask your question. The king started asking his questions to the hermit step by step. His first question was, what is the most important time in this world? Then the hermit replied, bore in your mind, bore in your mind, bore in your mind. Present time is the most important time in this world. Present time is the most important time in this world. Present time is the most important time in this world. And present means now. That is running. King really became satisfied with this answer. But he told how. He so told, if both of us were not here, then he might have become dead. So this running time or present time, what you call now, is the most important time in this world. Then the king became really satisfied, absolutely satisfied, and became eager to know the perfect answer of his second question. Then he put up his second question before the hermit. What question was that? Second question was, who is the most important person in this world? Then the hermit replied to the king, you have already got perfect answer of this very question practically, but you are not thinking at all over this. Just imagine, if both of us were not here, then the person might have become dead. So, most important persons in this world is he with whom you are. Most important person in this world is he with whom you are. Oh, then the king imagined, thought, contemplated over the stream of his thought and became really satisfied. Then the king asked his third question. His third question was, what is the most important work in this world to be done? The king repeated his question, and as the hermit listened his question, he replied positively, the most important work in this world, the most important work in this world is to do good for others unconditionally. The most important work in this world is to do good for others unconditionally. And he proved the king, both of us have this person unconditionally without expecting any returns from him. As a result, this person has got a new life, and we are getting good faith to the core of his heart. Ultimately, the king became really pleased, really satisfied, absolutely satisfied with the perfect answers of the perfect answers from the Hermit. From this very story, we derive a conclusion that our present time is the most important time in this world. Our present person, that means with whom we are associating at present, is the most important person for us. And third one, to do good for others is really the most important work in this world. In this way, today we are going to take these lessons from this various story named 3 questions, and next class we will enjoy it in Hindi also. Today, that's it.